Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm Lance McCold, Knox County. Thanks for giving me some time to speak. I'm here to talk to you about policy G220, which specifically the parts where it calls for replacing the words actual or perceived gender and sexual orientation with sex. I wrote in my notes, I said, I don't understand why this change is being made or why we're being used. And Mr. Dupler seems to have explained it, that in some arcane place, sex actually means those same words. And it may be true, I don't know, but I guess my reaction is, well, how many of your staff are lawyers that are going to know that sex means sexual orientation, or how many of your staff are going to know that sex is the same thing as gender identity? And this policy is the policy with which you communicate to your staff. So his answer, if I've understood it, makes no sense to me in the context of a policy. Well, let me skip on to say about why I think that changing this is a bad idea. I looked at the staff handbook in Knox County Schools, and the policy G220 is the only anti-discrimination statement in the whole handbook. And it includes language about all the other kinds of anti-discrimination. But, this removing it here would remove the only place that this would be only evidence that Knox County schools don't discriminate against people because of sexual orientation or identity. And I think this is pretty clear that people who come to think about coming to work at Knox County schools are going to, if they're wise, they're going to look at the policies and they're going to say, well, I might not be going to be there. My kids went to Farragut, and both of them had, one of their best teachers was gay. And she inspired them, she motivated them. I think we would be at a real loss if we lost teachers because of their identity or their characteristics like this. I'll also note that this change would make us an outlier. Knox County's employee handbook specifically prohibits discrimination on any aspect of employee relations based on sexual orientation or gender identity, just as ours currently does, which would be lost, along with other prohibited reasons. And I've been told that the City of Knoxville, Metro, Nashville Public Schools, the Tennessee Board of Regents, and the University of Tennessee all have this kind of language in there. So, I want our school system to be an outlier. I want to be an outlier because of excellence, not for having discrimination policies that make our schools weaker than they need to be. So further, most of our staff are kind and welcoming people, despite the many differences that there exist in any large group of people. But there are a few bullies in every crowd. I challenge you to find any group, any church, any what, that doesn't have a few. It would be completely understandable if those people didn't read you taking this language out as permission to start to bully the people who are have a different sexual orientation or a gender identity than they're comfortable with. So I can go think there's no reason for us to go back to that. With all these reasons, I think it's important to remember that the main reason for doing this is moral. The church I go to teaches that we should love our neighbors as ourselves. And our neighbors include everyone, even those who are different than us. And we teach our children that the way we should treat others is the way we want to be treated. I'm sure your church teaches you the same thing. So please reject these proposals. Let's get on with making our schools the best they can be. Thank you.